Countering China, something both sides of the U.S. aisle agree on. But Republicans say they'll take a different approach if they win the midterm elections. F-35 fighter jet deliveries on pause, all because of a single part made in China. Is the U.S. still granting China access to microchip technology? A recent sales approval by U.S. regulators hints the answer is yes. And North Korea's nuclear threat getting an update. A new rule means the country could launch nuclear strikes if it feels threatened, and rejects future denuclearization talks. Welcome to China in Focus. I'm Chenny Wu, in for Tiffany Meyer. Countering the Chinese Communist Party is a bipartisan issue here in the U.S., but House GOP Congress members say they want to take a new approach. This as Republicans plan to unveil their midterm agenda in 10 days. Here are the details.
Predicting the GOP will reclaim the majority in the November midterms, House Republicans say they want to bring real changes to America's policies on China.
When we get the majority back, we're going to prepare America to win the great power competition against China.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and other Republicans led a press conference in Texas on Thursday. They vowed to enforce sanctions on Chinese slave labor, block China's influence on American universities, and crack down on Beijing's espionage in the U.S.
Not through talk, but through actions and words and deeds.
Democrats have also stepped up their message of countering China. Following a trip by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan in August, a slew of bipartisan delegations has visited the democratically ruled island. The latest one traveled there on Thursday.
Is a symbol of Congress's rock-solid commitment to Taiwan.
The Biden administration is also hailing its efforts to compete with China, including the passage of the bipartisan CHIPS Act.
And China is trying to move away ahead of us. It's no wonder the Chinese Communist Party actively lobbied U.S. business against this bill.
Despite that, the House GOP says the administration has not stood up to the communist regime.
And as a result, today, China continues to steal America's intellectual property with impunity.
And on September 19, McCarthy is expected to unveil the GOP's midterm platform, which will cover the economy, the border, parental rights, and government accountability.
It's been another busy week for Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. American and French lawmakers are now visiting Taiwan. The U.S. delegation is the sixth to travel to the island since early August. Likewise, Taiwan's president expressed confidence in signing a high-standard trade deal with the U.S., an effort it's been pushing for amid opposition from Beijing. Here's more.
Taiwan says it's confident that it can sign a high-standard trade deal with the U.S. under new framework. Both sides are expected to start talks early this fall. The Office of U.S. Trade Representative said discussion will cover several fronts, including agriculture trade, regulation, and anti-corruption standards, among others. Taiwanese officials say they aim to shore up the island's economy by promoting its agricultural products. What's more, the island wants to attract funds and technology from the U.S. and the world. Across the Taiwan Strait, Beijing says it firmly opposes the signing of such a deal. On the U.S. side, a Democrat that sits on House Armed Services Committee expressed her support while visiting Taiwan.
One of the most important things Congress can do right now is to deepen economic relationship with Taiwan, and in particular by pushing for a high-quality free trade agreement between the U.S. and Taiwan. We also cannot underestimate the power of cultural exchanges across academia, civil society, and government.
She's also calling on Congress to advocate for greater Taiwan participation in international organizations. Congresswoman Murphy said Taiwan has shown itself to be a responsible member, and it deserves to attend international forums.
Economy officials from the United States and 13 Indo-Pacific countries launched negotiations on Thursday. This marks Washington's first major trade engagement effort in the region in nearly a decade. But this time, cutting tariffs isn't on the table. Instead, the talks are aimed at addressing future challenges and achieving sustainable and equitable growth in the region. Australia, India, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand are among the other nations involved. The international trend of politicians visiting Taiwan continues. A French delegation arrived at the island on Thursday. Here's a closer look. A group of French lawmakers is visiting Taiwan. The island's vice president said the trip symbolizes France's support toward democratic Taiwan.
It also sends a very important message to the international community that freedom and democracy-loving countries that value human rights can only prevent the rise of authoritarianism if they stick together.
The French senator leading the delegation emphasized Taiwan's importance.
Listen, as we have said repeatedly a number of times, France is a power with presence in the Pacific, so we have our stakes in this region. Today, we consider Taiwan to be a partner in the stability of the region.
The French delegation is set to stay until next Monday. The Pentagon says it's putting a pause on deliveries of a popular fighter jet. Defense Department officials discovered that Lockheed Martin's F-35 stealth-capable combat aircraft has a part that's made in China. That's against regulations. But the Pentagon says the component does not pose any national security issues. The part in question is an alloy used in the jet's integrated power package and will be replaced by one from an approved vendor. The F-35 is widely used in the U.S. military, with versions made for the Air Force, Marines, and Navy for aircraft carriers. Pentagon officials say the issue will be resolved as quickly as possible, so aircraft deliveries can resume. The Biden administration has approved a new intellectual property sale. The deal involving semiconductor or microchip technology is going to a Canadian company, but it's partially owned by China. Here's more.
The U.S. just approved the sale of a semiconductor IP developer. The company is called Open5 and creates what are known as intellectual property cores. Those are reusable parts of circuitry needed for microchips. The company is being sold to Alpha Wave IP Group. But Canada-based Alpha Wave is financially backed by Wise Road Capital, which holds a 10% stake. And Wise Road Capital is based in Beijing. It has strong ties with the Chinese Communist Party, and its deals have often aligned with the goals of the Chinese Communist regime's industrial policy objectives. Republican lawmakers are questioning the sale's approval. In a statement, Senator Marco Rubio said, "By failing to block this latest sale, the Biden administration has yet again demonstrated its total unwillingness to take this threat seriously." He added that American competitiveness will suffer in the long term as a result. The White House has not issued comment on the matter. Microchips are vital to a plethora of modern technologies, ranging from pickup trucks to hypersonic missiles.
The Biden administration this week announced restrictions for American companies investing in China's microchip industry. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said on Tuesday that companies who receive funds from the $280 billion CHIPS and Science Act can't build cutting-edge or advanced technology facilities in China for the next 10 years. Right now, the U.S. is largely dependent on Asia for microchips. Nearly all of them are imported from Taiwan and China. After years of stalled denuclearization talks, North Korea affirmed its status as a nuclear state on Friday. State media reported that Pyongyang passed a new law enshrining the right to use preemptive nuclear strikes to protect itself. It also bars any denuclearization talks. Let's zoom in.
An original 2013 law first outlined North Korea's status as a nuclear state. It stipulated that the country could retaliate with nuclear weapons to repel an invasion or an attack from a hostile, nuclear-capable country. Now, the new law passed on Friday goes beyond that. If Pyongyang detects what they call an imminent attack by weapons of mass destruction against them, they've granted themselves the right to strike first. It's an apparent reference to a similar strategy that South Korea unveiled in July, aimed at North Korea. The North's leader Kim Jong-un said that was a sign of a deteriorating situation. He added that their new law bars any more denuclearization talks from happening and declared the point of no return in a speech. President Joe Biden's administration has offered to return to talks with Kim, while South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol has offered economic aid to Pyongyang if it agreed to denuclearize. Kim on Friday said he would never surrender the weapons, even if the country faced 100 years of sanctions.
The law reads, in case the command and control system over the state nuclear forces is placed in danger owing to an attack by hostile forces, a nuclear strike shall be launched automatically and immediately to destroy the hostile forces. Ankit Panda of the U.S.-based Carnegie Endowment for International Peace shed light on what this means. He told the Straits Times that this could mean if North Korea's leader is killed, a senior official would give the order to carry out nuclear strikes. Japan is boosting defense preparation alongside its allies, just in case. First on the list, joint drills with the U.S. and South Korea in August, with 2 more training exercises scheduled this year. The U.S. will also keep its rocket launchers and other equipment stored at a frontline Japanese base. Beyond that, Japan is now revealing plans for joint drills with India amid the increasing China threat in the region. Here's more.
More bilateral military drills are happening between India and Japan. The nation said Thursday that they would deepen defense cooperation and plan new military exercises involving their air forces.
We welcome the significant expansion of our security and defense cooperation between Japan and India, and we have confirmed that it will be further strengthened to a higher level.
India's defense minister held talks in Tokyo with his Japanese counterpart ahead of what's called the Foreign and Defense Ministerial Meeting, also known as the 2+2 talks. India, like Japan, is bolstering its military to tackle what it sees as increased security threats. Both countries appear increasingly wary of China's growing military might and assertiveness in the region. Japan is the world's 3rd largest economy and plays a considerable role in the international community. Japan's new defense chief said recently that the country plans to improve its defense capabilities amid Chinese threats. Japan's relationship with India, the world's largest democracy by population, has traditionally been strong.
To prepare itself for a military conflict between China and Taiwan, Japan is also looking to increase ammo and fuel storage on its southern islands, some of them within 100 miles of Taiwan. Now, we'd like to take a moment to answer a question from our audience. One viewer wrote in to ask about the production of neon gas and China's role in it. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has further aggravated the global shortage of semiconductors, also known as microchips. Part of that disruption involves the manufacturing of a key ingredient needed to make the chips, neon gas. Before the invasion, Ukraine produced around 50% of the world's semiconductor-grade neon gas. That accounts for more than 90% of the neon used by American chip manufacturers. The gas is critical for the lasers used to make the chips. According to market researcher TechSet, global neon consumption for chip making reached nearly an estimated 600 tons last year. But Ukraine's 2 leading neon suppliers have halted operations since February. As a result, the world will be more reliant on the globe's other 2 major suppliers, Russia and China. A general manager at Changzhou Naxin Special Gases told South China Morning Post that China's global neon share may rise from 30% to 50%. Companies elsewhere could start their own neon production, but Chief Marketing Officer of Supplyframe, Richard Barnett, says it would take anywhere from 9 months to 2 years to get going. What's more, Angelo Zeno, senior industry analyst at CFRA, says companies may be unwilling to invest in that process if the supply crunch is only seen as temporary. That's all for today's China in Focus on YouTube. We're now sharing a shortened version of our program here, after being demonetized for more than a year. Here's what to look out for in our second half. The China-Taiwan situation has been making headlines for weeks, but why won't or why can't the U.S. do more to help the island? Retired U.S. Marine Colonel Grant Newsham gives us his take on the situation. The full episode is available on our partner platform Epoch TV. To sign up, click the link down below. Thanks for watching China in Focus. I'm Chenny Wu.
The 2022 NTD 8th International Chinese Vocal Competition will be held from September 29th to October 2nd at the Merkin Hall of Kaufman Music Center in New York City. The competition is honored to have specially invited vocalists with the world-renowned Shen Yun Performing Arts to serve on its panel of judges. The gold award is $10,000. For more information, please visit vocal.ntdtv.com.